The UConn and USC game was by far the best of the year. Juju was guarding Paige and vice versa. Sarah Strong and Kiki defended each other as well. The NBA should take notes. A game is a lot more exciting when the best players actually guard each other. Juju haters are in shambles right now. All this talk about, oh, Juju is inefficient. She's overhyped. She stat pads during blowouts. She's a manufactured star. They ain't gonna be saying that tonight or during Big Ten play for that matter. But before I get to her dominant performance against UConn, I'm going to go back in time a little bit. There's a lot of revisionist history going on with Juju Watkins. Juju had to work for all the attention that she's receiving now. It wasn't given to her. Despite being the #1 ranked recruit in a stacked class, Juju didn't have nearly the mixtape hype or love of Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, or even a Haley Van Lith. She's literally the reason I started my freshman breakdown series, because the little amount of hype she was getting out of high school. It wasn't until she dropped 51 points on Stanford that the hype really started taking off. Before that, ESPN would barely post her highlights, and she's done much more than have a historic game against Stanford. She broke the record for most points scored by a freshman in a single season. She was one of the few college players to have an average of 4 stocks, steals plus blocks per game. She's one of only 5 freshmen in history to make an All-American first team. And if we're keeping it real, she was robbed out of Pac-12 Player of the Year. The Brink versus Juju debate ended for me when Brink got 50-pieced. But that's neither here nor there. But Juju did something much more important than get a bunch of individual accolades. She led USC to a Pac-12 championship, which they haven't won in 10 years, and led them to the Elite 8. Juju wasn't even born the last time they made it that far in the tournament. USC has been irrelevant the past 2 decades. They were in the same boat as Louisiana Tech, a once elite program reminiscing on the good old days. But Juju turned them back into a powerhouse, and top recruits and transfers are clamoring to play there. There's a very short list of players that would have been able to do what Juju did last year for USC. But back to the UConn game. She dominated UConn on both ends of the floor. She had a game-high 25 points while dishing out 5 assists, 6 rebounds, and she was just as effective on defense. She guarded Paige Beckers almost the entire game and did an amazing job. But what really sticks out to me is the 9 for 16 shooting and 3 for 4 from the three-point line. Juju's efficiency has been the go-to talking point for people who criticize her. But for the season, she's averaging 25 points while shooting 45% from the field and 34% from 3. Sure, there's players with higher efficiency, but they aren't receiving nearly the amount of double teams or have as big of a scoring load as Juju. It's become trendy to trash Paige Beckers and Juju every other game, but they are still dominating and playing like top 5 players. And that's honestly lowballing. Their so-called bad games would be great games for other players. Paige Beckers had 22 points against one of the best defenses in the country, but will still receive a lot of criticism for losing this game. Juju can score 20 to 25 points, but will get criticized if she doesn't shoot over 50% from the field. There's no other players in college basketball that get treated like this. Anyone who doubts Juju is in for a very long season. She's going to absolutely tear the Big Ten apart. There ain't no Hidalgos and Sonia Citrons in the Big Ten. There isn't even a defense like Ole Miss to deal with. But that's it for this video. I don't usually make videos like this, but the non-stop Juju hate has gotten ridiculous. And unlike Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, she doesn't have a huge following of people that will defend her. Juju is one of the most humble stars in the game, and has and will continue to live up to the hype. She might turn the ball over a lot, she won't always shoot a crazy video game-like percentage, but she's going to lead USC to places they would have no chance of being without her.